Друзі, дякую всім, хто прийшов.
Thank you everyone for coming here and who are watching us online. We start our working day, and the topic of the first press briefing is First, I would like to present all the speakers. Jan Burian, Director of the National Theatre in Prague, Michal Dočekal, Director of Drama Theatre, and Břetislav Rychlík, Stage Manager, Documentary, Lucie, Řehoříková, Director of Czech Center in Kiev, and Tamara, Trumova, Stage Director at the Kiev National Academic Theatre of Drama and Comedy. And the delegation came here in Ukraine from Czech Republic, and they research the sphere of Ukrainian drama. And first I give the floor to Lucie. Thank you. Good day, afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming. Czech Center in Kiev
is proud to welcome a Czech delegation which arrived from the Czech Republic yesterday, on our invitation. The main goal of this delegation, or of their staying here in the territory of Ukraine, is to do first general research after some years of silence within the Czech and Ukrainian theater scene. We would like them to see what's happening here, and within the program they will visit the theater performances and meet theoreticians and people from the theater scene in Kiev, and hopefully in the future they will return also to do theater research in the regions of Ukraine. We initiated this visit for people who also plan to organize first year of international festival, which would be dedicated to the 80th anniversary of Václav Havel, who would celebrate 80th birthday next year. So that's also apart from the general research within the territory. Apart from the general research, what's happening here in Ukraine in theater, they would also like to perhaps establish contacts within some theater which would be able to perform one of Havel's plays next year. That's why we also invited director Břetislav Rychlík, who would be the one who would do the director here in Ukraine with Ukrainian actors, and we hope very much that the performance would be alive not only in Ukraine but also that it would be introduced to the Czech audience. So perhaps. Now I could give a word to the director of Czech National Theatre, Jan Burian, who's part of the delegation.
Good morning for everybody. Thank you for this meeting, and thank the Czech Center for the invitation. Maybe first of all I would like briefly introduce you our theater and some historical circumstances which could be interesting also for Ukrainians people and people from theater. The National Theatre in Prague is the biggest cultural institution in the Czech Republic, established and financed from state. It covers 5 artistic ensembles, 2 opera ensembles, including 2 orchestras, 2 choirs, and etc. Drama ensemble, quite big ballet ensemble, and Laterna Magica, which is well-known experimental former theater. We have together 1,300 employees and thousands of collaborators. We are preparing approximately from 22 to 25 new shows per year. We play most than 700 performances each year with a lot of audience, of course. Basically, we can say that in Europe we have only 3 theaters which are so big and which have so big producing numbers. Secondly, what could be interesting also in the Ukrainian conditions is the brief history of the National Theatre, because National Theatre was or has been established like a result of the big cultural and political revival of the Czech nation. Czech Republic has been 100 years the part of the Austrian monarchy, and in the 18th century and then continuing to the 19th century we had a big cultural, economic and political revival of not only of course culture but also economic and so on. And the Czech theatre has a special position in this process, because one of the main goals has been to build a new relation and to revive Czech language. And the theatre has been a medium in these times, how to do it for the wide audience. And in that times, Czech intellectuals and rich peoples decided that the way how to do it best, I will speak slowly, how to do it best is to build a professional theater on the high professional level, speaking and singing Czech. Maybe some of you knows a lot of, for example, of the Czech composers and Czech opera as well, because our opera tradition, for example, is one of the 4 richest opera tradition all of the world. And when we try to recollect the number of known operas to number of inhabitants, we can say that we have more successful opera pieces than even French culture. So, and we are very proud of it. What is interesting that the theater in the Czech conditions has extremely strong political position. And each changes what we had during our history, which was not easy, as you understand, because we were the part of the Austrian monarchy, then we had Czechoslovakia, like independent state, then we were part of Germany, then 2 years free, then the part of the Russian monarchy, communist monarchy, and because in fact it is communist monarchy. And then we started to be independent after 1989. In all crucial moments of our history, the theater was the platform to express independent ideas and to find a way how to work in the cultural and political field together. And so now we are here after a long time, so me personally, yes. And we would like not only to see the situation on the theater field in Ukraine, but we would like to say our friends from Ukraine that we are open and free to collaborate. Because first thing is to do formal political changes. But to build a new society, it needs a lot of work. And the culture could be medium how to do it, maybe not only quickly, but also on the educated and high cultural quality. So, and now maybe it's enough from me, and I will pass microphone to Michal Dočekal,
who is the director of Drama Theatre, National Theatre in Prague, the main stage manager.
Good morning. So the most important things were said before. I just want to add that the festival which we established, and the first edition would be next autumn, October 16, is dedicated to the memory of Václav Havel. And I'm pretty sure that Václav Havel would be very much interested in the situation of Eastern Europe, especially in Ukraine. And he would be definitely sympathized with the Ukrainian people. And so that's why also we want to focus on performances from Ukraine, because, as you know, Václav Havel, as also was it said before, as many other important figures in Czech culture, was the theater person. He was and still is important playwright, and his activities, like the public activities, started in theater. And as he then changed from an artist to a politician, so he stayed to be in heart a theater person. And but all of his arts were very much connected to public issues, to social issues, to political issues. And definitely nowadays, if he could, he would be interested, sympathized with the Ukrainian fight for democracy, freedom. And that's something what we feel quite necessary to bring up to the eyes of the European audience, because of course Europe is going through many crises, many difficult subjects and problems, but still what's happening on its eastern part, it's very serious and must be talked about, must be mentioned, and that's the heritage of Václav Havel as we feel it. Thank you.
Yes, Václav Havel always emphasized in his messages towards Ukraine that Ukraine is a free democracy, should become and should have the right to decide where it wants to stand, where it wants to go, where it wants to head, and so that's why we all think that it is the right time to bring up Václav Havel's message and work to make it broader within the Ukrainian people. And I would like now to pass microphone to Břetislav Rychlík, who was initiated to become the director of Václav Havel's one of his plays within the next year.
І пан Бřetislav буде говорити чеською мовою, як розумію, пані Lucie.
I want to tell a few words of English, and after I will speak Czech because my English is not so representative like this gentleman's. Hello, good morning. I tell a few words English. I am very glad that we are here because I'm in Ukraine 3 times between this year. And I tell you something about my idea, but I must give microphone. Maybe, Michal, microphone to Lucie. Thank you. Tak, so, Czech. Sorry. Během roku, kdy
During 1 year, I was 3 times in Ukraine. I visited Ukraine 3 times this year. I visited various regions, Dnipropetrovsk, Kremenchuk. I was here in April with the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Czech Republic, Mr. Schwarzenberg. It was the last time when I visited Ukraine. The first book of Václav Havel was staged in Mistejský arsenal.
K takovému nápadu, že by bylo dobré
To zjavila se idea, що було б гарно, якщо би
představit Václava
That to present Václav Havel's plays to Ukrainian people as the people who now are fighting for independence and the way to democracy. And as a dramatist, playwright of the world level. Because in the society, Václav Havel is known as the world playwright and a person who fight for the truth. And many things that he was talking about democracy, civil society, and fight for democracy is the topics that are very important in Ukraine, and we face these problems in Ukrainian reality daily. And that's why, due to the Czech Center and the team of the center, some contacts were established, and 5 plays of Václav Havel were chosen, and I personally prefer one or two of these, and we conduct negotiations with the Left Bank Theatre, the Theatre of Drama and Comedy, and we will choose a play that will be staged. I think that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Good afternoon, and I would like to tell you briefly that on behalf of the theater, Left Bank Theater, and our head, Mr. Mitnitsky, I want to thank the Czech Cultural Center for this important activity in such times, for your initiatives, that you are with us, together with us, and we hope that we will cooperate with you, and and the project will be completed in the best possible way. And any play that will be chosen, its language and topics that were highlighted in the works of Václav Havel, these are the topics and the plays that are most needed by Ukrainian public, by Ukrainian theater. And for me, it will be very impossible when in my theater something bright, something exciting will happen. It's a new experience. It's when experience goes to you, not vice versa. So to know the life of the Czech theater, and it's an unimaginable experience. Thank you for your initiative very much.
Дякую, друзі.
Thank you, friends. And now we can start with the questions. The first question is how have you chosen the theater in Kiev? What were the criteria? Could you give us some details of selection procedure? Yes, we talked to the National Theatre in Prague, and as there will be an anniversary of Václav Havel next year, we have made the research which theatre would the best suit our criteria to stage Havel's plays. And after that, we consulted our friends who work in these theaters. Our first task was to view the plays, to view the actors of the theater, and we hope that Mr. Břetislav will come to the theater and meet with actors, with leaders of our theater. Everything is now at the stage of open research, and we will look further how the things will go, but we hope it would be a success which we will celebrate next year. Thank you. We have some more questions. The next question is, you said that you are here to establish contacts with the theaters in Ukraine. Have you been cooperating with the Ministry of Culture of Ukraine, and what are your plans on cooperation with the ministry? Yes, of course. We would like to address the Ministry of Culture as well, but as we for now we have established contacts with the Ministry of Culture of Czech Republic. We have been with the visit to the Ministry of Culture of Ukraine, but we are now waiting for the schedule, how the things will develop further. Thank you. We suppose for support.
Thank you very much for presentation, and thank you for taking an effort and coming to Ukraine to bring Czech culture closer to us. On behalf of Ukrainians, we really appreciate that. I would like to ask a question about generally about the theater sphere of Czech Republic and Ukraine. Do you see any similarities and any differences within these spheres, within the two cultures, that can help you build a stronger bridge between Czech Republic and Ukraine and promote Czech culture in Ukraine? Thank you.
I think that it's very difficult to answer it because, unfortunately, it's necessary to say that the contacts between Czech theaters and Ukrainian theater last 20 years are not working, in fact, and that's true. And the first step how to establish context is to say through. Unfortunately, I must say that Ukrainian theaters are not so deeply involved in the European networking systems like Opera Europe, Union of European Theaters, and so on. And I'm sure about it that because I think we understand your situation better than people, I don't know, from France, for example, that we would like, if you will be interested in it, to help you not only to start normal contacts, but also to open the doors to these European networking systems, because there you can get not only information, but also the projects for cooperation between theaters, which are more and more important for the European theater world, and will be in the future, I think. What we have, of course, we know something from newspapers or magazines, but the mistake of on the our side is that we also are not able to get enough information about Ukrainian theaters. And now the Czech Center finally started something concrete what has not been before. And that's, of course, necessary. And it is not only about the theaters in Kiev, because we know that you have interesting theaters only in regions, which are maybe some of them more interested for collaboration than even theaters in Kiev. So that's all.
But one thing is probably also important that, let's say, 20 years after the changes, after the 1989, the Czech culture and also politics were looking, let's say, to the West. So we were lacking of the context. We were of the Western context. We felt that we were locked behind the Iron Curtain, so our interests were mostly concentrated to the West. And let's say last 5 years, as I feel it, it's that we start to realize that it's not only this, only that side of Europe, of course, and also that some part of common history united us, the same historical ways which we were sometimes very undeliberately led through, so that united us, and it's quite important. Also, this common part of common history.
Можливо, ще чийсь коментар щодо цього? Чи?
Do you have any comments? Are there any questions, colleagues?
As you probably know, we've been having a conflict in eastern Ukraine for more than 1 year and a half. And some people say that one of the reasons is the lack of promotion of Ukraine's culture to people in eastern Ukraine. So in this regard, I would just like to know the general attitude in Czech Republic. I mean, do people still talk about Ukraine and the conflict Ukraine is in? Did they talk? And in general, your attitude towards events in eastern Ukraine?
Yes, they do, definitely. That's probably part of my answer. So because of the history, what we have the same or similar, so we feel it very sensitively, and we don't forgetting about the situation in Ukraine, about the situation of Crimea, about the situation on eastern Ukraine, and it's a very sensitive topic among the Czech, let's say, intellectuals, but I'm convinced that among all people.
Maybe two remarks for it. First of all, you know that in Europe we have now a lot of discussions about immigration crisis, and our position is that it must not be reason to forget for the problems on the Ukraine. And I think that's why one of reason why we are also here, because it is also a message for our society. Secondly, you know, we have a big immigration wave from Ukraine in the Czech Republic, absolutely without problems. For example, I live near the Prague. My personal experience and the best friends in our street are the 2 young people with 2 small children from Ukraine, from Odessa. And we are really friends, absolutely normally, speaking Russian, German, English, Czech with them. They have even keys from my house. So it's working. And it's thousands of people. And in that way, of course, we have also different politicians with different views. But please be sure that Czech intellectuals and most of the Czech people are definitely supporting the process of independence and revival of Ukraine society. And we have the experience even because we were Czechoslovakia and now we are Czech Republic and we divorced with Slovak Republic. And our message is that that's better. We have better relations. Everything is clear, we are working on the base of negotiations. It's normal working and we are friends. And the problems that we have in the past, we have not now, because everybody is responsible for his own. So maybe it could be, I know that it is not comparable because we are 10 millions only. But maybe it is some small experience for the future, and not only for these countries, because you know that these processes are all over Europe, even in Spain or Belgium or I don't know where, wherever.
Břetislav wants to add something.
Když vypukla válka tady na Ukrajině, tak
when the war started here in Ukraine, the Czech Republic felt the problem was solidarity from the part of Czech people. It was some failure. Some students took road vehicles and to express their solidarity to visit Ukraine. We have some information about the events happening in Ukraine. I had contacts with people who lived in Crimea. When different people from Czech Republic took part in support to Ukraine. Here we can see the director of European Festival, and in Poland and in Czech Republic 31 Ukrainian writers were the honorary guests of the festival. After the 2 months with a group of scouts, we were in ATO area. I don't understand how we could manage to get there. We have been collecting money and we bought things and food and uniforms for ATO Ukrainian soldiers, and there were some relations. I would like to say that part of my family is from Transcarpathian region of Ukraine. That is why I feel Ukraine as my native land, partly, to some extent. And I feel that this people, this country, which has been undergoing the aggression from Russia, people here just need to live, to work, to have some life. And I would like to remind Mistetsky Arsenal. It's a museum, and dozens of thousands of people came there. There are thousands of books exhibited there, and the exhibition, the display was very excellent that time when I was in Mistetsky Arsenal. When I was at the theater festival here in Ukraine, in Brno, an international festival encounter, ensembles from Ukraine came with the stage director from Ukraine, Oksana Smilkova. She works in Brno, in Czech Republic. Oksana Smilkova, her name is, and except Petra Minajik here with the delegation, we can see the artist who also will take part in our preparation of Václav Havel plays staging here in Ukraine. We also brought here our producer. She will be the leading producer of Crossroads Festival, which is intended on expressing the opinions on the situation in the East Europe.
If there are not, maybe final remarks, or we're going to finish at this point. Dear colleagues,
Дякуємо за те, що прийшли, і за те, що ви готові сприяти українській культурі. Завжди раді бачити вас тут, в нашому центрі. Дуже дякуємо, що прийшли. Будьмо гей. I remind that next press briefing by Colonel Mr. Lysenko will be in 20 minutes.